This is probably my favorite video literally ever. It just explains the way my mind works so much. It's called The Art of Dumbing Down, and it means exactly what you think it means. It means when somebody is smarter than what they showcase. They act dumb because it gets you places. And you'll understand. Just watch it. I promise. I promise. This video is goated.
Freedom of jail song that I knew. I'm like, yo, this is the one. This is exactly what y'all was looking for.
God damn, everyone's such a fucking pussy. We live in the greatest nation on earth. Thank you, America.
Hillary Clinton is a great woman and a good woman.
Well, how did her attack? Get the fuck up. What's wrong with you?
Because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
I think that's the case right there. I maybe have to dumb down my lyrics just a little bit.
I dumb down for my audience, double my dollars. They criticize me for it, yet they all yell holla.
90% of the world can't even enjoy your content. And when I realized that, I was like, wait a minute.
I can't believe I let Nas down.
I'm telling you!
My stomach, I can't believe I let Nas down.
Dumbing down. The act of making something simpler and easier for people to understand, especially in order to make it more popular. Now, some may see this label as an insult, but if you ask me, it's really a compliment, because in itself, it's acknowledging you're capable of doing quote-unquote better, but you're just choosing not to. And listen, some people don't have that luxury. For example, Lil Pump. He didn't dumb his music down, he was just dumb, and his music reflected that. The sole reason others dumb down is because of accessibility, which is what I want to touch on in this video. How
and what I want to say really quick before he gets into it, I might pause this video a lot just so you know. But what I realize is if you want to attract the audience of most people, you have to speak in the most simple terms ever, and you have to speak in extremes. There can't be any nuances. You have to have a firm stance on something, and you have to believe in this. It's why it's Democrat and Republic, black and white, and man and women. It's why there's these firm sides, and you're either for or you're against. You're on this side or you're on that side. You can't be in the middle. If you're in the middle, you're nowhere.
How accessible are you supposed to be successful? Is it even necessary? Does accessible mean bad? And why did J. Cole let Nas down? Being an artist is tough, especially if you're unsuccessful, as it's easy to get stuck in that bitter mindset that your work is brilliant and everybody else just doesn't get it. And then you start to look at mainstream artists like, this is stupid, this is trash, I'm better than this, which is a common occurrence in the lyrical miracle community with guys like Hobson or pretty much any YouTube rapper.
Yo, how come everybody in the game wanna rap like you with the played out flow? I've been in the back killing every damn track, and the rhymes all whack, how the fuck y'all blow?
These fools ain't spitting no type of dope shit. They just got a hard ass fucking beat to trick dumbasses like you to make you think you like the shit.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
They somehow always come to the conclusion that the fact that artist is popular and they're not is proof that everybody is stupid. No, you're just broke, alone, trying really hard for nothing, and nobody knows who you are. What you should be doing is facing the real question. What is that person doing right that you're not? And if the answer doesn't please you, maybe it's time to find a new calling. Now, if making niche experimental stuff is what makes you happy, you have to come to terms with the fact that you're never gonna be at the top. You will never be as popular as all of the dummies that are making this mindless, stupid music. That is the sacrifice you're making. Now, whether or not you think this is a good trade-off really depends on the person. Too many people believe that being an artist gives them the excuse to just create and do nothing else. Well, that's a fucking lie. You have to study. You have to understand the space you're moving in more than anything else. Cause unless your sugar daddy is giving you monthly checks, you have to make a living somehow.
Art isn't just about pure creative expression. I feel like art is understanding the audience that you want to accept your art and twisting it and making it for them. Type shit.
It's either learning how to market yourself or staying a failure forever. Choose. If toning yourself down is all it takes to make that next step, do it. If that's what it takes. If your message in art is so brilliant, it will still push through sooner or later. I mean, look at Kanye with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and Yeezus. Face facts. Do you even have a plan? Because your artsy IG page with 70 followers isn't going anywhere, Nathaniel.
Dark fantasy is me going back and spending 6 dedicated months, and kind of piecing together what people liked about me to make an entire bouquet that they loved, that was the most listenable, that was the least challenging. Yeezus and 808s are so much better and stronger.
But listen. On the other hand, just because you're making yourself more accessible doesn't just give you the excuse to put less effort in your work. Quite the contrary, actually. Adapting your unique style to a larger audience takes a lot of time and effort. The thing I love about Kendrick is that he's capable of making these super conscious lyrical songs, but at the same time, he can successfully pull off a stupid, fun TikTok song without forcing it or trying too hard. Like on his last album with Silent Hill, he managed to make this track without sacrificing the quality of the album in the slightest. And that's the thing. I think a true artist shouldn't be too stuck up to make a TikTok song every once in a while. Okay, but why did J. Cole let Nas down? Relax, I'm gonna get to that. Chill. We can see this phenomenon of dumbing down occur in almost every form of media and even life. Like politics are a prime example of this, because politicians' careers rely solely on votes to put them in positions of power, so they are pretty much forced to pander to the masses. You don't have the luxury of being niche in politics. Everything is about pushing your ideology and agenda on the widest range of people possible. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, but politicians change their minds all the time just based on majority public opinion. Hillary Clinton wanted to outlaw gay marriage a couple of years ago. Trump was a liberal before he recognized he could successfully run as a Republican. It's all about how you can adapt to the current climate. Not only do your politics have to be accessible, but so does your personality.
I don't know who created Pokemon Go. But I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the pole.
You have to be likable, you have to be relatable. It's basically a popularity contest. And that's how Trump won. He collected all—
Did I not just say that? You know what I'm saying?
All those votes from the "I like to have a beer with this guy" people. You know, sometimes Republicans win just because the liberal candidates are so pretentious and stuck up. Once people get a whiff of that, you're gonna lose all the truck drivers and construction workers, make no mistake. Republicans are easier to relate to, and that's just a fact. It's also a big part of their sales pitch. I'm just a common God-fearing American. I love my country just like everybody else. And that's why I plan on deporting every single Mexican in the United States. I'm not just talking out of my ass here. There's a real article back in 2016 that states, quote, "Over time, guy you'd want to have a beer with," that's a real fucking quote, "became the agreed upon narrative of Bush's campaign wins. Uptight Al Gore and Pinot-sipping John Kerry, which were the liberal candidates at the time, just weren't desirable barstool neighbors, while Bush could sell himself as someone whom you'd like to sip a Coors Light with." Actually, the original states adjacent to, but that's another example of why you should dumb it down sometimes. I mean, what the fuck are you doing?
This is why when I look at like right-wing politics, specifically right-wing, bro, there's just so many grifters who I don't believe are actually right-wing, but they realize how easy it is to just sway that audience and make them their audience. And then people just become online creators and they become millionaires because they just act like they're on the side of the right-wing conservatives, but they actually don't give a fuck. They'll say anything to get them on their side. They'll trash on minorities, they'll trash on gay people, they'll trash on anything that is on the liberal side just to get the conservatives on their side, on the libs.
I genuinely think a large portion of Americans vote on that basis. Like, it's not about whether or not the candidate has good politics. It's about how many times they make you say, "Ah, what a legend."
And another thing, I think he's gonna talk to that a little bit. I've noticed this with like so many online creators, not necessarily just with like right wing, left wing, but like you look at somebody like Andrew Tate is a good example. Sneeko was a good example. Charleston White is a good example, and there's so many more. If you watch their come up from the beginning, if you go back or if you were along their journey, in the beginning, they talked about things in a much calmer way, and they were more in the middle, and they were more philosophical, and they were deep, and they were talking about things, trying to get things changed in the right way. And nobody gave a fuck. Nobody cared, nobody clicked, nobody watched, nobody talked about them. It didn't work. And the minute they just flipped, and then they just started saying nonsense and acting like idiots and just saying the most controversial things ever, then they blew up and they took over. And like, that's the craziest thing, because it almost teaches people to become an idiot. It's like rage bait online to get famous. And that's literally the formula. Like, if you want to just make it, literally just act like an idiot and be controversial and say shit that you know is just going to get people riled up, because whatever you stand on, there's a team of people who are for you and a team of people who are against you, no matter what you say. Like, you could say, I want to bomb America, and there's people who like are so for it and they're for you, and then there's going to be so many people just chattering. I'm yapping.
With going viral on pretty much any social media platform, there's always two waves of virality. You have the first wave, which is mainly positive, and you're pretty much reaching your target audience. And then you have the second wave, which is when you start seeing more and more negative comments. Everything is sweet while you're operating in your own bubble, in your own niche, where you can't miss, where you're a god. When you step outside of that bubble is when you realize someone always has some negative shit to say. Someone always hates you for no apparent reason. No matter how hard you're trying or how perfect you think your work is, you can't reach everybody. Literally. Mr. Beast is the most popular content creator for a reason. His business model is simple. He makes the most accessible content imaginable. Everyone loves seeing money being handed out to random people. There's not a single person who ever watched a Mr. Beast video that said, I just don't get it. Because there's nothing to get. The content is super engaging and entertaining. It's not forcing you to think. It's inoffensive. No one really has an opinion. It's always happy and upbeat, wholesome to a degree. There's nothing to dislike. Pair that up with a high budget and high production value and boom, you have the biggest channel on YouTube. But let's talk about more thought-provoking content where you're always bound to piss some people off. I'll be the first to say, Andrew Tate said some profound shit before he got deplatformed. Some. But it was the ignorance which pushed him to the top. When people quote Tate, they don't talk about his life advice or any of his personal stories. They think of what color is your Bugatti? Women are objects. Like, it's that side of him which made him accessible to everyone. Ignorance for the purpose of entertainment. Does he really believe that? I don't think so, but that shit goes and he knows it. Now, unfortunately, ignorance attracts ignorant people, and that's how you end up getting deplatformed. The most extreme case of dumbing.
This is also another reason why, I'm sorry, I keep pausing. This is another reason why a lot of times I feel like I hate like followers and audiences more than I hate the leader or the creator. It's like, I genuinely believe Trump fans, not all of them, I genuinely believe a lot of Trump fans are dumb as rocks, and like those are the idiots when Trump really isn't. Like, I feel like Trump is the one duping everybody, and his fans are the ones who are actually like droolers type shit.
Down content is, in my opinion, Sneeko, who recently really blew up. Don't take it from me, take it from one of his own supporters. Sneeko built an amazing aesthetic and carefully crafted image and brand for the good part of a decade, just to throw it all down the drain, screaming and angry on live streams for a cheap, quick blow up. He chunked out all nuance for sensationalism bullshit, attracting a bunch of impressionable morons as fans, and now he's gonna be destined to retreat to the grossest platforms filled with the worst type of people and become further radicalized. Hope it was worth it, bro. Sneeko is a prime example of someone who didn't go about dumbing down the right way. Recently, he chose the path of Andrew Tate clone, and even though he claims he's been saying the same thing for years now, the truth is, he noticed the trend and jumped on it. And it worked. He pretty much surpassed all of his previous success by being ignorant for a couple of weeks. And now all of a sudden his whole ideology has changed. He's a devout Christian now, even though he was an atheist before. He started smoking cigars for some reason, even though he 100% is a copy and tape. Why would you even say that? His opinions are all very surface level. They're not.
But Sneako's another good example. I used to watch him when I was like 18, like 6 years ago. And he was like a smaller creator, like nobody really like talked about him. He wasn't like this viral person, but he made real art and he made shit that like was real, and he was talking from the soul, and he was broke. He made no money. He was looking around and all his other YouTuber friends were rich, and he's sitting there making a teacher's salary because he decided to be authentic. So in a way, I don't blame him for going down that route and just like flipping the script, because that's what's going to sell. That's what's going to get you the money. And it worked. He's a millionaire now because he dumbed down.
Thought out, and couple that up with constant.
So, with that being said, if there's ever a point in time where I start dumbing down, don't be surprised.
Yelling and erratic behavior, you get a good recipe for fleeting entertainment, but not for long-term success. The problem is, accessible content doesn't last. If you don't have any art or personality connected to your blow up, you're gonna perish as quick as you came up. All you are is a novelty at that point, and people are just gonna find someone else when they inevitably get bored of you. You're not irreplaceable. Trust me, substance lasts. The most successful artists are the ones who manage to find a perfect balance between the two. Substance and accessibility. Anyone leaning too hard on one or the other is destined for an unsuccessful career. That's why most reaction channels don't last. They don't provide enough value by themselves to warrant a loyal fan base. But anyway.
Is this a call out? This is my first reaction video. Chill on me.
If this video doesn't go viral, I'm turning this into a hashtag red pill self-improvement channel. Oi bruv. Why did J. Cole let Nas down, bruv? You said you would get to it, but you didn't get to it, fam. Stop fucking about. Back in 2013, J. Cole released Let Nas Down, a track in which he talks about how Nas, his idol, hated Cole's single Workout, which later became his biggest hit, mind you. Nas thought Cole was destined to carry on the tradition of hip-hop and hated the song because it was poppy. He hated it because Cole dumbed himself down, even though it meant Cole exponentially growing his fan base and becoming bigger than he ever was. Cole was then faced with the fact that he disappointed his childhood idol, even though he doesn't actually regret releasing the track. He points out how even Nas had pop singles back in the day and justifies why he went mainstream by saying he did it for a greater purpose. Quote, "If I can get them to listen outside my car, then I can open the door. Reintroduce them to honesty, show them that they need more. The difference between the Pretenders and the Kendrick Lamars." Now, even though I love this song and it pretty much inspired this video, I have to disagree with Cole here. Because no matter what, there will always be a portion of people who only consume music and media in general passively. Either that's just their preference, or maybe they plain just don't have the capacity to understand substance. It doesn't matter. This expectation that all of a sudden people's minds are gonna start opening and there's gonna be a switch. Oh my god, something is different. I don't know what happened, but I just don't feel like listening to this Drake anymore. Come on everybody, let's put on the new Kendrick. That's unrealistic. That's never gonna happen. The sentiment that someday everybody will appreciate substance is false. The thing a lot of you fail to understand is the majority of people in general use these forms of media to pass the time, and they aren't.
Exactly. Most of the time, people watch videos as like an escape, right? So it's like when you make videos that make people think, those are the videos that perform the worst. And I've been victim of that so many times. Anytime I make a video where I break things down or I really explain what's going on, like with my life or thoughts that I have, and try to get deep with things, horrible. Like no matter what platform I'm on, always horrible. But the minute I'm just like ranting, or I'm just like saying like just literally anything that like people can relate to in just a simple way, the video does well. It's like it makes me want to just, you know what I'm saying?
Necessarily looking to have a mind-altering experience like you may be. And that isn't changing anytime soon. As a matter of fact, that's pretty much the norm. So whether you like it or not, accessibility will always be a factor. Period.
So you ain't lit Nas down. It's just part of the game.
W video. I'm not gonna yap at the end because yeah. How do I end this video off with the theme that the video talked about?